Hi, and welcome to the CAFMA Connect. I'm your host, Fire Chief Scott Freitag, and with me today, for the first time, Travis Kohler with Fleet Department. Travis, how are you?
Excellent. You, sir?
Good. Thanks for coming in.
Of course.
So we want to hit on a new program that we have. I know for years there was antiquated systems. We were still actually using paper. Was it in triplicate to send stuff into you?
There's carbon copies and snail mail.
Right. Maybe it would get to you, maybe it wouldn't. Sometimes an email. I know I would send a text or an email.
Often illegible, too.
Right. I'm about 1,100, 1,500 miles away from an oil change or service in the car. So we have a new program called PSTrax. I know literally nothing about it. And so we thought we'd come on because it's important that people not only know what it is, but log into it and start utilizing the system. So you are the guru of PSTrax, is my understanding. So here you are. Go ahead and tell us about PSTrax. What's it for? How do we use it? Why is it important?
It's a web-based software program. It's got several different modules available. We're taking advantage of most of them. We're going live August 1st with just the vehicle side of it. Initially, there's a PPE side, a warehouse side, a facility side that'll all go live later. There's an EMS side that I think we're going to opt out of because it's kind of like redundant to what we're doing at Image Trend already.
Right.
So we actually purchased this, I think, almost a year ago. Our first go live date was November 1st, if I'm not mistaken, last year.
Okay.
And we've drug it out this long because it's quite a build for them.
Right.
So their administrative side at PSTrax built all the apparatus, stations, and everything for us.
Oh, wow.
And then in the last couple months, I've been able to access it to tweak the checklist and vehicle information and things like that to make them more specific to the stations and the user-friendly to the crews.
So is this thing, does it reside on the computer? Is it an app on the phone, on the iPad? Where is it?
It's a web-based program. So they do have an app coming out. It is mobile-friendly. So when you're using it on a tablet or a phone, it's easy to manage through.
Okay.
The app version will be better. So on a PC, it's obviously great because then you have full expansion of everything. So.
Okay. Yeah, the way I even knew anything about PSTrax was Chief Rose sent me a text, and it had a link to PSTrax, and I didn't know what it was, so I ignored him, which is what I usually do. But
with that, I'd like to say that everybody does need to preferably log in before August 1st so we can get all the bugs worked out. As far as there has been people with the email address is not quite correct that PSTrax put in the system so they can't get in, and an email to IT help would be the best way to get that resolved if people can't get in. But I'd like to see everybody get logged in before then. Okay. Because then our expectation, August 1st, is that that's exclusively what they're using for alerts and checklists, which we'll kind of touch on here in a little bit.
So August 1st is next week, so we need you to log in. That includes me.
Correct.
And I need to log in on the computer. I only have this thing in a text, and I couldn't tell you where it is.
Right. And it does, Jonah did set up a dual sign-in, so it'll shoot you to another Microsoft page when you log into there. And on that, you'll use your regular login to open any computer, CAFMA computer.
Okay.
So it's like a secondary.
So what are you capturing in PSTrax for fleet?
So all of the paperwork that is normally done by the engineer, firefighter, your daily inspections, your weekly inspections, any write-ups or alerts, pass-on reports, journal. There's a whole journal entry section on here, which we'll touch on. Basically, anything and everything to do with the apparatus can all be logged in and accessed there. There's also a vehicle information section where I've input your VIN number, your make, model, the ID number.
Okay.
Also in there is like the engine serial number, Allison number. So especially for us, everything is accessible in an instant. All the information we would need. Normally would go to several sources to gather all of it.
Right.
Same thing with the write-ups from the guys. We have a little file folder thing in the shop that we pull those when the vehicle comes in for service. And then we go through the things that they've written up the last, 4, 5, 6 months, however long it's been since it's been there, and address those. So now those are all live on the screen immediately when they set an alert. So we want to see basically as much information as this thing can absorb all in one spot, accessible to all those that need it.
So it's a real-time thing in that when the engineer checks out the truck in the morning, they report what they found, any deficiencies. that goes directly to you. You see it. So if there's something significant, you can say, we need to get on this right away.
Correct.
Now, if it's like the truck isn't working, Station 58 is really good for a while at blowing up motors, those types of things, they can just give you a call. Right. But overall, the regular stuff, we'll all go in there. You'll be able to see it real time, make determination whether that's a critical issue or not.
Right.
And then continue on. Now, is this on a monitor in Fleet, or you log into your computer and then you look at everything that comes in?
Correct. Well, two things. It automatically emails us as well. So
Okay.
that doesn't require an email. So if they set an alert, that email goes out to whoever needs to get it. So if it's a fleet related thing, it'll come to us. If it's a warehouse one, it'll go to them for equipment and stuff like that. So two things. We got the email and then we got the alert. So we're trying to daily, when we come in, just check that screen. So there's a fleet status report that basically shows like a bunch of different columns set up like an Excel spreadsheet. So you can organize it any way you want. And then from there, you do most recent, and then it'll just show like the alerts that were set overnight, the day previous or whatever, in numerical order or chronological order. So from there, we can look and see, okay, they wrote up that, whatever, the AC is not working. It's not an out of service condition. It sucks right now, but we can note that,
Right.
and then, in the back of our mind, try and work that in. Like, hey, if you guys are driving by, you can come in here. Maybe we can recharge the air conditioning, and so it's just it's on our mind immediately, rather than like I said, it's a week or two later when we get the little paper things, and we honestly don't look at those until we're pulling them for it. So
Right.
So yeah, that helps a ton. And
So when they're checking the engine out in the morning, or one of the apparatus, do they have like an iPad, a phone, or do they just take notes and then go inside and log in the computer?
they should do it in real time. So they can use the EPCR. Or they can use their phone. That's their choice. They could take notes and go back to the desktop. The daily inspection is pretty minimal. The weekly's exhaustive. So it's got the entire inventory all the way down to the contents of a saw pack, and whether that saw pack is an off-district pack or not. So that should be several hours long. And when you're doing these checks, you can you run a call or whatever. You just log your checks at the bottom. There's a little button for it, and then all of those get saved. So you can pick up where you left off. Now all the ones you've already checked are gone off the screen.
Right.
So then you can just continue on.
So they can just use the iPad that's already on the engine that they use for their medical reporting information.
Correct.
They can use that to go around the engine, do the check. Now, can they take pictures of a defective thing and then send that as part of it as well?
So when you go to set an alert, there's several options. You can choose a category. That kind of determines who it goes to. You can add an attachment. Yeah, the guys have added videos and pictures of things, which are obviously extremely helpful.
Right. Yeah. Except for like damage. Like, I don't know. Let's say rescue 62, which is priority 130 right now. Yeah, we don't know how that would have happened. It's like most things.
Well, that was a question already once, is does this replace loss damage? And it does not. So loss damage report, because it needs electronic signatures, has to go still through that old system. You could still set the alert, put the information there, but you're going to have to do it redundantly with the loss damage, because that's the only way to correct that.
But I think at some point in the future, as we bring the other pieces, components of PSTrax online, we may be able to move that loss damage report to a more online user-friendly function.
Yeah, and the electronic signatures are something we're asking them to, because on the weeklies, for example, it has to be signed off by the captain. So there is no way to do that right now. Anybody can do the weekly, and it's just complete. So we're trying to get them to add something where it has to go to a secondary before it comes to us to get signed off on. But
now,
that's on their end.
I have a quick question for Kathy, because my understanding is that Kathy has been using PSTrax for her vehicle. So, Kathy, how is it to use?
Oh, it's been great so far. Yes, I actually needed new windshield wipers because mine were completely torn up. And I put in the PSTrax thing. It did the whole check, and it was fantastic. I got them immediately.
Was it on your computer, or
I did it on my phone.
You did it on your phone?
I did it on my phone.
All right. Well, maybe she can show me how to use it.
There you go.
That'd be perfect.
You need help.
I do need help. So we get logged in. I go out and make sure my vehicle's there every day. Like, look, it's right there.
You'd call if it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. I'd call PD. Or when the check engine light comes on, I call you. Right. But so what else do we need to know? You know, an overview, 30,000 foot view of PSTrax. Reminder again, log into the system before August 1st. I guess one of the things we want to just highlight is if you have a problem logging in, that's an IT help issue.
Correct.
If you have issues with actually filling out documents or understanding how it works, that is a Travis
Correct.
issue.
And then another thing, we tried to customize these checklists. So initially, like for example, DEF was on the list automatically, and some apparatus don't have DEF. So I've kind of gone through and weeded out the things that only apply to certain apparatus. There's still going to be some that the guys will be like, oh, well, this shouldn't be on the checklist, or this should be on the checklist for this. So when they go to set an alert, there's a category called checklist edit suggestion.
Okay.
And in there, they can say, hey, Travis, this vehicle isn't equipped with this, so can you take it off? And I can delete that. Or maybe this should be reworded, or, you know, like 58 has hazmat devices that need to be added to their unit that are specific to that. So with that, they can kind of help me slowly make the list more user-friendly, like maybe make the order in a better format, reword things, add things, delete things. So if they use that alert, then I can take that, and when I have time, I can make those edits.
So is it easier with like the 3 new Pierce that are sitting out at Fleet right now getting prepped to go into service, because you get those units in the system brand new, and so you just build it right there, and you know what equipment's on it?
Kind of. The list is so, like I said, it's giant, especially for the inventory. So the guys will notice that there's a spot called templates as a station. So every station's in there, and then there's a station called templates. In that template, we've built like type 1 checklist. I put in like utility, type 6, type 3. So they're all kind of custom to there. So from there, I copy that checklist to the apparatus. So on the new 3, even though there's no equipment on it, it's already going to show a basic inventory list. Now, like I said, if that list is customized, like one's going to 51, 51 used to carry a RIT bag because of the city issues, but I think they're not anymore. But like, so then that would be added to it on their end. So we'll kind of work on that inventory. The inventory, Eric's going to have to, it's kind of on them. It's not on us. I mean, to be honest with you, there's some of those things listed. I don't even know what they are. You know, the names, it's not our thing. So as Jaron was out there trying to get a great inventory list when he was on light duty, especially for like the water tenders, because they're so different. And and they're going to be working on that. So the inventories might be off a little bit, especially on the oddball stuff like that initially. But yeah, we can, in that edit suggestion, we can work on that there. So
would it be helpful if we just pulled Jaron back to light duty?
So he could help for him. I was excited for him to go back on the floor.
I was just checking.
But he was very helpful. Yeah. Cody, in fact, did threaten him to.
No, he's a hard worker.
Yeah.
even when his back was broken. So when we talk about the new engines, I know we're here for PSTrax, but the burning question out there from folks is, especially 51 right now, when can we expect 51? I know that you guys have been fabricating some new things. It's a little different on the Pierce than the Rosenbauer. Guesstimate.
Hopefully in a month.
Hopefully in a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's still things we're waiting on. So we're putting the SCBAs in the gull wings, as most people probably know now.
Yeah.
We're waiting on, they're building a swing out door, PAC is, for the engineer side.
Gotcha.
So that way we can attach the packs, swing that door open, and then have some tools behind it, because there's still storage behind it. So that's we're waiting on. We just started working on the body this week for the most part, and the cab is about 90% done. So it's going well. It is a whole lot. I mean, the Rosenbauers, we kind of had it down to a science. We would prefab a lot of the materials needed to put these together, and now we had to just, drawing board literally. So
start over.
So sorry, and it's 3 of them.
And
it's not like you can just do one, because that would actually be not very time efficient. You know, if you've already got everything set up to make 3 of these, brackets, or 3 of these. I mean, the consoles, I think you've seen that Ben built.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so that it's like, yeah, if you're doing that, then you already have everything out. You want to work on the next one right away. So I do feel like when they do go into service, they'll probably be like just a week apart each one.
Okay.
And that'll be nice.
maybe 6 to 8 weeks to get the first one in service, just because we're waiting on supply chain things.
And that may show up sooner.
Right.
I did email yesterday asking for an ETA and didn't get it, which is usually a bad sign.
Well, we'll just go with 6 to 8 weeks to give you a little extra time.
I'm
How's
hoping
that?
before that.
Yeah.
So,
All right. 6 to 8 weeks or sooner. We'll be making the order. I think the order was made yesterday. We signed the contract with Hughes Fire Equipment for 2 more Type 1s. So those are coming in. But anything you'd like to add on PSTrax before we close out?
Like I said, I had a lot of notes. A tutorial would be better suited.
Right.
One thing that the guys can do is on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a little pink heart. And that expands to the left when you open it, and there's tutorials on just about everything. So if in a 24-hour shift they can find the time to maybe sit through a few of those, it'll be extremely helpful because it's a lot to go over. The information that's in there will be expanding over time. I've had guys ask about, so when you're doing your engineer packet, you're supposed to go around to the apparatus and actually look at, tank size and pump specs and stuff like that. There's a spot where I can put all of that in there, which is one-stop shopping. I think it's useful in there. I think it's useful for them to go out and actually touch these things as well as part of the packet. So I don't want this to be a workaround to that. But yeah, there's a lot more information we can put in there, and slowly but surely we'll get it all. So,
well, I think we can count on Kathy to help us make a tutorial. Not us, by us I mean you. Make a tutorial on
training
on PSTrax and training that we can put out as one of those short videos that I talked about in the review last week.
Yeah, we can do that.
Perfect. And you would know if I talked about that in the review if you read it. Just saying. So with that, Travis, thank you so much for coming in. Thanks for putting all the notes together, because that's going to be good for that tutorial where we focus specifically on that and walk everyone through it. I will ask Kathy to help me either today or next week get into PSTrax, maybe immediately following this. She can guide me on how to do that. And that way I can tell you that, hey, I've got like 1,300 miles and
I don't have to remember that on my drive back. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could text you that, but I know.
That's the point. All in one source is like the whole point of this. So.
I need to get it in PSTrax. It's a great new process. As with everything, we're trying to streamline, make things more efficient. And this is just another one of those. Thank you for all your work on this. Thank you and Fleet for all the work on the new engines. They're going to be spectacular when they come out, and I know they're going to be done right when they hit the street. So
yes, sir.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Until next week, thank you for watching or listening.